contribution, I'd like to focus on two particular areas, which is the need to have sufficient teeth in this legislation and for clear definitions of what constitutes an online harm, something which many Carshalton and Wallington residents have been in touch with me about. Now, I hear the criticism and the concern that an online harms bill could be overreaching and damage freedom of expression, but I do not think that this should stop the government from going ahead with trying to make the internet a safer place. And I would argue one of the best ways the government could do this is with helping with a clearer steer of what constitutes a harm. We've heard already that high on the agenda, and I think we are all agreed in this House, must be a robust set of actions and consequences in place when content related to terrorism, child abuse and equally abhorrent crimes are not taken down by social media companies. And I think we can safely say that we as members of Parliament know full well what a vile place the internet can be, sometimes being on the receiving end of some of the most vile and horrific abuse. I myself was subjected to homophobic abuse during the election campaign in December last year. So any online harms bill must be sufficiently defined and powerful enough to consider how we can protect people against some of the harmful content that is available online. And just some of those examples I'd like to go through now, which have been raised with me by constituents. This includes almost a quarter of children and young people who have sadly lost their lives to suicide, having previously searched the internet for suicide-related content. 1 in 5 children having reported being victims of cyberbullying. Social media companies refusing, not just ignoring, but refusing to take down content from so-called conversion therapy organisations, which leads so many LGBT people to consider self-harm or even suicide. 1 in 14 adults experiencing threats to share intimate images of themselves. 1 in 10 women being threatened by an ex-partner and going on to feel suicidal. A higher prevalence of abuse amongst those with protected characteristics, whether they be women, religious minorities, LGBT+, BME or disabled people. Distorted body image goals and so much more. And we've seen the unwillingness from social media companies to act, which is why further regulation is necessary in this area, but it must also be backed up with a regulator that has the teeth to act, but also proper education on safe and proper internet use, as regulation alone won't solve the problem. And if the government does get this right, it really does have an opportunity, probably a once-in-a-generation opportunity, to make the internet a safer, but no less free place to be.
Yeah.